Alright, welcome back to another race. Tonight we are racing the Crit City Downtown Dolphin. 8 laps and it's about 15.5 kilometers. So about 5 minutes out, just getting ready. Done the warm up, been riding around Watopia for the last 15-20 minutes. Rejoined the race from when I initially joined. Each race you can join from 30 minutes out from the start time. So what I tend to do is join and get my best position I can and then go off and do my warm-up. So I've got a couple of minutes here and thought I'd change my kit up a little bit. Go with something a bit different from the usual stuff that I wear. And I think I settled on the Tour of Watopia. There we go. But I thought, well, maybe that blue doesn't match too well, so let's change the color of my Tron bike. Yeah, so tonight we're riding in white top with a yellow bike. So this is C grade. I rode this race I think last week and came in, I think it was 11th. So really hoping to improve that time. Tonight I'm aiming for a top 5 position, which would be great, but we'll see how we go. So we're at 2 minutes before the start. All good to go. So the Crit City route is dedicated just to crit racing. You can't cycle this normally as you can with the other maps and the other segments in Watopia or in Zwift. So the only way you can really do this or ride this route is to join a race or an event here. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to race it. You can just join the race and then leave the event if you want to, and that will allow you to run around, to ride around the track at your own pace. You don't see the races and they don't see you. But not tonight, we are racing. So feeling good, feeling a bit nervous. I want to do better than I did last time, that's for sure. Turn the fan on, we've got less than a minute to go. We've got, I think, 23 riders in today's race in C, which I think is a pretty good amount. Enough that it makes it interesting, not too many that it's too difficult. Alright, almost 10 seconds to go. 10. So the reason we power up before the start of the race is that there's a 3-second average on your power. So if you were to start riding at now, then it takes about 3 seconds for Zwift to register your power, and by that time you can be left in the dust. So typically about 8-10 seconds out from the start, ramp your power right up, and then you can back it off once you're riding. So I'm just waiting for the group to form, and here they are coming up. So typically this is a mostly flat course. There's a little cobbled climb, 2-stage cobbled climb. Not very big, but big enough when you're racing. And then we've got some rollers, gravel rollers that tend to descend. Okay, so the group is coming together. about, I don't know, almost halfway through the first lap. So I've changed the map there, and we can see from the map in the top right hand corner that we've already dropped maybe 5 or 6 riders straight out of the start, so that's always a good thing. You don't want too many riders getting onto the group and then drafting to hang on. You want to sort of get rid of as many riders at the start as you can. All right. So trying to get a handle on some of the riders in this race. Got a few Aussies, UK, Japan, US. I did a bit of a look up on a few of them, and now there's some competition here. All right, we're into the rollers. This is the bit of the gravel section. And then we come out into a hairpin. And then the banner is about 400 meters up there, so not too far away. And that's the first lap out of 8 done. I noticed in this particular race they don't actually have the lap counter. Not that that's a big issue. If you know the distance of each lap, you kind of work it out. And I've picked up the drafting power-up, which is pretty good. So out of the power-ups, really the 2 best ones are the aero, which will increase your aerodynamics for 10 seconds, and the drafting, which improves your draftability, or how easy it is to sit in the group for 20 seconds. And so they both can work really well. Didn't really want to pick up that one at the very start, but hey, that's just what happens when they're randomly assigned. But ideally, you'd like to have either the aero or the drafting power up at the end of the race. And quite often some riders will, if they get this at the start, they'll hang on to it and not use it until the very end because, well, you don't know what you're going to get. And like in the last race I did, the first 3 or 4 banners I went under, I didn't get any power-ups at all. So sometimes you use what you get and hope for the best. Now we can see a lot of the guys here are using the steamroller power-up really well on that little cobbled climb. Just smooths out the road, makes it feel like bitumen, and makes it a lot easier to ride. We've got a couple of guys pushing at the front there. Typically at this early stages of the race, it's not a big issue. It's really hard to break away in Swift. You've really got to put some heavy power down to break away and then keep that distance. That's a pretty difficult thing. All right, back into the rollers. So this would be the other area. If you had a steamroller, this would be the other area you'd use it. All right, come around the hairpin. Still got some good numbers in this group. We're looking at what, a good 12 or 15. And I keep forgetting that I can change camera angles, which I should do more of, especially towards the end of the race. I think this camera angle is a really good one. gives you a good sense of the distance in the group. So my heart rate is, I'm hanging in there really well. I'm feeling pretty good. And this is one of the little liberties you get with Swift riding indoor training, as opposed to out on the bike. You can kind of sit up and well, just take a breath or change your breathing pattern a little bit. Can't really do that on the bike out on the road. And we can see different riders here using their power-ups at different times. There's no hard and fast rule on when you can use them. But certainly these riders here are all using them pretty strategically. Yeah, which is good to see. So pushing through. Don't really want to be on the front, so I'm happy to soft pedal and let the guys come around. Scott was pretty consistent on the front there. Yeah, so it's a good group. We average about 40 k's an hour, somewhere around there. So it's pretty quick. Yeah, I don't know whether I would use the draft power up and the rollers through here. I would have waited for the section just beforehand where it's flat and a bit downhill. Really get the most out of that. Suck in some deep breaths. And you can see when riders try to make a break at the front there, typically they're roped back in by the group pretty quickly. As I said earlier, it's really hard to break out and stay in the front. So I've picked up the featherweight power up, which is good news. I'll definitely be using that in the climb. Feeling good at the front there, not feeling like I'm struggling to hang on to the group, which is really good. Making me feel pretty confident. Bend there. Yamasaki's been on the front for a little bit. So is Kashima. As well as Faulkner and Asland. Yeah, no one's really taking big turns in the front, which is good. So I probably could have used the power up a little bit sooner than I do here. I sort of wait until the little turn and then turn it on. I probably could use a little bit sooner. We sort of finish the climb, we get up that little hump, but still a good result. And we can see that everyone's picking up PRs. So that was the fastest lap so far, or the fastest climb. So this back section here is the best section to use the drafting power up if I were to choose. Not so much in the rollers here. Heart rate still mid 160s. Feeling good, but my legs are starting to scream a bit, I think. Yeah, it looks like I'm the only Tron bike rider in this group. Yeah, we had one of the guys sprint for the finish there, so I don't know what that was about. But he comes back pretty quickly. Yeah, SA Fabricators, I didn't catch his name. Now, so I've picked up the burrito power up, which makes you undraftable for 10 seconds. Again, in this racing, it's just not really, it's not a worthwhile power up. Through the back here, just making sure that I just stay on the front, but not on the front. Heart rate still sitting at 166, so that's pretty good. Not spiking up too much. And we're about halfway. Back into the climb. Bit of effort, and you can see from the histogram down the bottom of my screen there that it puts me into the red every time. So those 3 red peaks that we can see down the bottom of the last 3 cobbled climbs there. So I've used my undraftable burrito. Just to get rid of it. And who's out the front? AG. Pushed well ahead. Too soon though. That's for sure. And you can see he's coming back to the group. Shout out to all the spectators that come to every race. Rain, hail or shine. I'm not sure what they do for work, but good luck to them. Okay, inside the 6k mark. I think we've got another 3 laps. Still a good group. I don't think we've really dropped anyone out of this this group here. So everyone's putting a solid effort in, that's for sure. Normally I don't drink during the race, so just can't. So being able to take a quick sip around this back section here was pretty good. And you can see for the most part that we're all averaging somewhere in the mid to high twos in terms of our power. So the watts per kilo is how the power is measured, and what that essentially means is it divides your weight, how much you specify your weight is in the Swift world, with how much wattage your trainer is putting out. Alright, under 5k's to go. Still feeling good, heart rate still in the 160s. 7th fastest on that climb, on the prime climb. And we've still got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of us in the group. Confidence is high. Back through the rollers. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with one of the riders there. About a minute 40 ahead. I'm not too sure with what the timing, happening with the timing there in Swift, but I've noticed that on a few occasions. So 2 laps left. Now I've picked up the steamroller. So I'm having to think about that. I could try and use it, but then I'm just not sure what I'm going to get. So I decide that I'm going to wait until the last lap and use it on the rollers, and hopefully that will give me a little bit of an advantage. So we're about to come back into the climb. Ben's using his burrito. Didn't mean to push that to the front like that. Soft pedal a little bit and wait for the group to come back around. Still averaging somewhere around 40 k's, 41 k's an hour. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm not spending a lot of time on the front there. Mid group is where I like to be. Okay, we're into the bell lap. This is where it's going to get interesting. Everyone's still pushing. .5 k's to go. Heart rate's creeping up a little bit. And we can see a little bit more yellow and red in the histogram at the bottom there, so I'm putting out a bit more power. right into the climb. I'm at the back there. Pushing hard, push, push, push. Big numbers, and we'll come out of that, and there's a gap opening up. Still pushing 400 watts. Trying to bridge that gap. I'm hoping another rider is going to come past and help me, but I've got Weston behind me, just past me now in the yellow and black. I'm trying to hook onto him. Ben's coming up. We're back into the rollers, and there's maybe a 2 or 3 second gap now. I'm pushing hard, and I know I'm going to use the steamroller around about here. So that goes on. .8 watts per kilo, 5.4. Push, push, push to the end. And unfortunately, finish out of the top 7. So this is where I think I lost it. It's just coming into this climb here. I'm about mid-group. And what I don't realise is the first 4 or 5 riders are really pushing hard. And it's just here that I recognise that that group's opened up, and I'm a little bit cooked. And we can see on the leaderboard on the right hand side that everyone has set PRs on that last lap. So that lap was the fastest lap of all the 8. This gives you a sense of how hard everyone was pushing. I'm trying really hard here to bridge that gap, and I just can't. And so the second mistake I made here was not using the steamroller soon enough. I kind of thought it was only 10 seconds, but I think it's 20 or 30 seconds actually, so you should have used it earlier. And I think if I had used it earlier, I probably could have locked onto this group and finished in the top 5. But there you have it. So 7th, not exactly top 5, but not too bad. 258 watts on average, 3.1 kilo watts per kilo. 165 heart rate. I was happy with that. And that was a good result. Progression, not perfection. So the next crit race, I'll be looking for a top 5. And hopefully that will work out my way. Alright, so there you go. Another race down and done. I'll be doing another race later this week. And we'll see how we go. Okay. Oh, well, thanks for watching.